What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Sheep Kashir podcast, where here we talk about people, politics, and popular culture. I am your host, Austin Creed, and ladies and gentlemen, there's been a lot of stuff in the news recently. Whether it's the Supreme Court going on completely out of the blue saying, you know what, affirmative action's gotta go, or them coming to the table and defending the First Amendment against the rainbow riding community. But everybody's talking about that today. So I decided I wanted to do something different for y'all today. Because while I could easily go on for the next 20 minutes about the Supreme Court, how I'm super proud of the Supreme Court right now, and how I'm extremely happy with the fact that Donald Trump was president and that the Supreme Court is not controlled by a bunch of communistic progressive sleazebags. But everybody and their grandma is doing that today, and yet is doing gonna probably do that for most of the weekend. So I decided I wanted to do something different today, because I don't want to just do what everybody else is doing. I've been different my entire life with the way I think, the way I communicate. So why would I suddenly be different now? Why would I suddenly start being like everybody else now and not be different? But that being the case, we're going to talk about more of human psychology today. And this might be political for some people. I don't see this as being political. I see this as more just being commonsensical. But for those of you who are, I'll put a disclaimer out there. For those of you who are very easily offended, you might be offended by this. For those of you who, if you are offended, feel free to leave a comment, question, concern, whatever it is you want. I personally am not going to be offended. It's very hard to offend me. I'll even issue a challenge and see if you can do your best. I've been called everything in the book. But regardless of whether you support me or don't support me, I want your voice to be heard. And so if you want your voice to be heard, please go on over to my Twitter page at Austin Creed, or at Aussie Creed, AUZZIECREED. Over there, you will be able to interact more with me, the community that's being built over there. Or you can leave it in the comment section of the video, whether you're watching on Rumble, YouTube. And without further ado, we're going to hop right in. The subject matter I'd like to address today, like I said, is more human psychology. And that is a simple principle of men have a have mind and women have a hive mind. Now, you might be offended by that. If you are, I don't know what to tell you, other than it's just the way it is. So, when everything is said and done, I believe research can do more than my words. But I'll give you both today. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at this article from the Huffington Post, and I will show you what it says. It says, "From Queen Bee to Hive Mind, women changing the world through our networks." So this idea of a swarm intelligence, this idea of kind of a hive mind, is nothing new. People have been talking about this for a long time. But I'm going to dive deeper into this, because if you ladies listening, I want you guys to just admit to me that you got more of a hive mind. Men have more of a competitive have mind. Like, we got to have everything. Versus women are usually more on the same page with each other. And men are usually on the, hey, I want all your stuff mentality. So, to bring this point home, I want to read this for you. It says, the author says, "I've written about the mythology of the queen bee syndrome that suggests women who rise to top positions take on the characteristics of a queen bee, dominant or controlling in a particular group, and not inclusive or helpful to other women." See, that's interesting. I remember the queen bee type. Has anybody seen Mean Girls on Netflix? Yeah, that's what most people's high schoolers are like. There's usually a group. Usually, the girls are the ones who run the high school. Okay, young guys listening to the show. You gotta admit this. I don't care if you're the jock on the football team. I don't care if you're the captain of the football team, captain of the basketball team, whatever, lacrosse, whatever. You're not the king of the. You are not the top of the food chain. You might be top of the food chain when it comes to the men, but you're not at the top of the pyramid. In high school, women are at the top of the food chain because they're so clever. They convince you that you are on top when in fact they're controlling you. They've Ladies, I know y'all getting mad right now. I know y'all getting mad. You don't want me to put these guys on game. I get it. You don't want me to, but guess what? I'm going to do it. And this isn't meant to bring anybody down. It's just meant to shed a light on reality. If you look at it from a purely evolutionary perspective, hold on, we'll get back to this article in a second, but I really want to drive this point home. Because when everything is said and done, you look at human history, women have historically have been oppressed. This is true. And because of that, they couldn't beat men in a physical hand-to-hand combat situation for the most part. So they learned how to subvert and more come in through the side angle, the back door, so to speak. They learned how to control from the shadows instead of having to control overt because they couldn't get away with it like they could today. But even look at it from a purely evolutionary standpoint, they had to stick together. Men, we were busy tearing each other to shreds, trying to become top dog, top G, while the ladies were out here scheming and planning behind our backs, and they were really running the show a lot of the time. That's why I say they have a hive mind. They're usually on the same page. You ever notice that ladies tend to defend other ladies when most dudes will not defend other dudes? You ever notice that? Yeah? Good. That means you see what I see. That means you know what I'm talking about, and you may not even realize it. But when it comes to human psychology, we as men, we're competitive. We've always had to compete for the things we want. We don't get handed things. We might get stuff passed down to us. But if you look at an evolutionary, natural selection, Darwinian, whatever you want to call it, it's very realistic to assert that the men have a have mind. They house a have mind. We need as men to possess things. We need to have things, achieve things. Women, on the other hand, they usually are more hive-minded, and whoever's the queen bee of that hive is in charge and really runs the entire hive. And and they're so good at it that we as men, we don't see it a lot of the time. Because women get put on game real early. Anybody else remember back in high school, middle school, when the girls would have drama and you as the dudes would kind of just sit around looking goofy, acting like, kind of like, what the heck are they doing? What's going on? I have no idea what's happening. Yeah, because dudes, we usually either A, pop each other in the nose, or we deal with things straight up. We don't go behind people's backs for the most part. We don't do any of that stuff for the most part. Ladies, that's their bread and butter, man. That's why I say they have a hive mind. They know how to support each other. They know how to get around each other. Just as men know, we know how to get in on other dudes, and we know how to control other dudes and all this other stuff, because that's just how men and women are different. Yes, I said it. We are different in the sense that we have different biochemistry. We have different purposes in life on a fundamental level. It does not mean there are not exceptions. It does not mean that people don't have their own individual circumstances. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you look at it from a purely psychological level. Men house a have mind. I gotta have everything. Versus women have more of a hive mind with what's better for the collective. What's better for the overall, what's best for both everybody around me and for me. But I gotta make it look like it's best for everybody around me. Versus dudes are more just like, dude, I just want to be top dog. I want to be Big Meech. I want to be on top, and I'll do anything I can to get there. We're more overt. They're more, a little more crafty than us. That's not meant to degrade anybody. I'm not saying that one is better than the other. I'm saying there is a difference. And look, you could say that's offensive if you want. It's not meant to be offensive. It's just meant for you to get you thinking. What do you do in your own life? Are you one of the people I just described? Do you exhibit these behaviors in your life? You probably do and you don't even realize it. But what are you going to do with those behaviors? As a guy, are you just going to try to be on top and you don't really care about anybody else? Because I'll tell you something, the guys at the top have connections. They have people that are in the same sphere as them to help keep them grounded and to maintain their power. Ladies, they do the same thing. Ladies tend to associate with people that are better than them, whether it's socioeconomically, whether it's physically, whether it's anything else, to try to keep themselves in the higher echelon and try to work their way up. That's how that works. But you need to look at your own character and you need to look at who you want to be and you need to stop letting... Look, I'm a big believer in this philosophy of this duality of the human being. There's the soul and there's the body, or how I refer to it as there's the body, which is the monkey, and then there's the soul, which is the man. You need to stop letting the monkey get control over you. You need to stop letting the monkey put you in this primal state that's going to make you have these very simple mentalities. You need to bring yourself above all of it. You need to be better. You need to understand why you do what you do, and that's why I'm doing this show today. I want you to understand at a very basic level who you are so that you can then decide whom you want to become. Because if you don't know who you are now, how the hell are you ever going to figure out where you want to go? That's like saying, I don't know where I am, but I want to get to New York City, so how do I do that? And you don't really have you have a map showing you from various cities, but you don't know what city you're in. The whole thing makes no sense. My friends, I want you to understand these basic principles of life, and that's why I'm talking about this instead of talking about what the Supreme Court's doing, what Joe Biden is doing, what some other person might have said about me online or anyone else. I'm not doing that today. Because at the end of the day, what matters more is that reality is shown to you and to the people listening to the show. I want you to get the head start in life that I didn't have. I want you to learn things that most people don't even know to tell you, much less will tell you. Do you disagree with me? Do you not think that women have more of a hive mind and men possess more of a have mind? I think it's pretty clever. I came up with that earlier today. I think it's very clever. I think it's something that most people, when they hear it, they'll say, no, that can't be true. How dare you say that? But then they'll pull back the curtain a little bit and they'll say, you know what? Wait a minute. That kind of makes sense. Dang, I think you might be right. And once you realize that, you'll realize why you're doing some of the things you do, why you're more prone to doing certain things that you may not have realized, and it will help you regain control, help you maintain and get your power back. Now, let's get back to this article, shall we? I want to see how much more of this I can take. It says, yes, these women's leadership organizations have been around for quite a while, but in the past 5 to 10 years, many more have emerged, and those in existence have grown exponentially. Okay, I see what they're saying. What else they got here? It says, women understand that having a strong professional network is critical to having, it says, our feeling part of having larger than ourselves. Okay, yeah, being a part of something bigger than yourself, helping you see your full potential, Well, this is not just specific to ladies. This is, everybody does this. In other words, people want to feel safe. It says, women crave the safety of a network of other women who have no agenda other than to unequivocally support the other women in the group. Again, hive mind, the community. That's what I'm talking about. To support other women in the group and truly want their success as much as they want their own. Men, I don't know if it's possible for us to have this. I want to believe it, but I don't know if that's possible. If a woman has ever been talked to about being emotional at work, she holds in all the tension during the workday just to have a place where tears are okay. Ladies, is this true? Is this true? Are they making this up or is this true? I want to know. Is this a true thing? Does the article have any truth to it? Does the whole validity? Does the whole weight? Makes sense to me, and I'm an outsider. I'm a guy. Men, we kind of have the opposite approach, where we have general community and we bond over common ideals. But when it comes to competing for things, we tend to compete. We don't want to tend to just give things out to other men. We want to have as much as we can for ourselves at a very basic level. Anybody argue with that? Anyways, I think I made my point. I could keep going on and on about this, but I think you've already decided where you line up. Whether you agree with me, whether you don't agree with me, it's entirely up to you. Like I said, I want to provoke thought about this principle that I've come to find to be true. And it's not meant to degrade anybody. It's meant to just bring awareness and help you understand maybe a little more about yourself and hopefully about the world itself in the process. So if you agree, disagree, you're happy, upset, whatever, hit me up on Twitter at Austin Creed, or hit me up in the comment section of the video if you're watching the video, or if you're on audio, just go on over to Twitter, hit me up, follow me, ask me questions. I will answer them as is appropriate. But until next time, my friends, God bless you, God bless your family, God bless the United States of America. We are out of here. You take care of yourselves, all right? Peace.